This video is looking at the AQA English Language Section A paper question 3, which is to do with inference and deduction. Again, question 3 is worth 8 marks and you will have approximately 12 minutes to complete this question. The purpose of this question is to analyse the language of the text in order to answer the question. You need to be identifying around about 6 points. This question is about inference and deduction. So what is inference? It's what you can conclude, deduce or work out from the text, the evidence provided, rather than what is directly written. You need to find out the thoughts and feelings and say what they are and say something about them. Now, language points are only relevant when you're using them to explain or interpret the writer's thoughts and feelings. And try to pick up any contrasts in feelings if you can. This question is not about the impact on the reader. So this question is all about thinking about the writer's thoughts and feelings and what they may be. Now, when you look at images, they can convey feelings. We can work out that some of these people feel sad, happy, worried, anxious, concerned, and text can convey thoughts and feelings too in pretty much the same way. So let's have a look at what you need to do. I'm going to show you the question in a moment as well as the source document. You'll need to read the text and try to identify the thoughts and feelings of the characters. Pick out quotations to support what you're saying. Try to avoid picking the obvious ones because at the end of the day you're trying to show that you can infer meaning and interpret the text. Explain how the language might highlight the thoughts and feelings, and especially important is if you can identify a change in any feelings, and this would help to access the higher bands. So reiterate, find out how thoughts and feelings are expressed. You do not need to identify the language device, and if you do so, it must support your point about inference. So let's have a look at the exam paper and the question. For this video, we're going to be looking at the AQA English Language paper from November 2013. Question 3, referring to source 3, is called Motorbikes and Pyramids by Ewan McGregor. Explain some of the thoughts and feelings the writer has during his journey to the pyramids. And again, this is worth 8 marks. Let's have a look at the source document. I'm going to talk through this text and highlight some points. I'd like you to make notes, and then at the end you can compare your notes to the finished write-up. Charlie was on my outside and I rode with one hand on the bars and one in my lap. So one hand on the bars and one in my lap, which suggests that he's feeling confident. We can see that he's engaging with the landscape as he feels the asphalt true and grippy. Ewan appears to enjoy the landscape as he comments that the land was greener, and he's noting that it might be farming country. He doesn't appear to enjoy riding on this landscape though with his motorbike, as he uses the words rubble, piles of rock, and it seems to displease him as he refers to the piles of rock as being littered. And this is something unpleasant, and he sounds as if he's slightly frustrated as it can't be very easy travelling on these surfaces. Now, Ewan talks about being in a bad mood, and this is an obvious emotion, so we don't need to comment on this because it's already in the text. Although he is in a bad mood, he doesn't appear to blame his partner, as he refers to our planning had gone awry. He seems to be taking some responsibility for the outcome. However, he is feeling stressed and he emphasizes the petty squabbles that they were having with each other. I mean, this may be due to their closeness and familiarity. After all, they did ride around the world together. He is unhappy with the state of affairs, and it seems to be spoiling his trip. As Giza came up quicker than I expected, this suggests that unexpectedly Ewan registers Giza. He's feeling bombarded with noise, which is coming from all angles, and this emotion seems to overwhelm him. It's a bit like the sound coming thick and fast, and he talks about thick and fast here. However, Ewan reaches his goal as he glimpses the Great Pyramids of Egypt. And going back to this bombardment of noise, you can see that with the cars hooting and the kids yelling and the donkey carts and bicycle, they all seem to be coming in on him from all directions. Initially, when he sees the pyramids, he thinks they are growing up from the middle of the town itself. However, later on he realizes they stand alone. He's actually feeling really elated at his achievement, which is again represented by his comment about the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Ewan is feeling overwhelmed, and we can see that with excitement gripped me. But he's no longer just thinking of himself, as he refers to we funneled into traffic. He's talking about Charlie and himself. And he's in the thick excitement of it all with his mate Charlie. And he expresses his sense of pride with the words, "My God," as he feels the excitement of being in the thick of it all and the enormity of his achievement. Although Ewan was initially bothered by all the noise, the crowds and the hustle, Charlie appears to have taken it all in his stride, and he seems to be able to attach himself from the reality of the noisy, dirty environment, and he can visualize something quite magical, and that's a round of golf with the pyramids as your backdrop. And his enthusiasm brings Ewan back to calmness as he reflects on his journey and the reality of their achievement. Now Ewan can appreciate how the great wonders of the world can put your troubles into perspective. Now Ewan concentrates his description of the journey to the pyramids, and as he is no longer angry with the noise and the litter, he registers the massive stone structures as they dominate the landscape. Ewan admires the beauty, and the surrounding area is no longer harassing him, so much so that he can joke again when he sees Rami in his Indiana Jones hat. Which suggests that Ewan views this trip as something of an adventure, something exotic, maybe special, more so because he has his close friend at hand, Charlie, to support him. Ewan feels comfortable and blessed to have Charlie as a travelling companion, as he mentions we had them to ourselves. He is mesmerized with the beauty and mysteriousness of the place as he stands speechless. And he is also in awe, and he stands in a state of marvel as he pays homage. So we've highlighted some of the key emotions and feelings felt by Ewan and included Charlie as well. So let's have a look at what the write-up might look like. Okay, we see that Ewan is feeling confident as he rides with one hand on the bars. We've got an embedded quote there. And he's engaging with the landscape as he feels the asphalt true and grippy. So we're talking about his feelings. He's feeling confident, and then we give some evidence here. He's engaging with the landscape, so we can see what he's feeling and what he's thinking. He's a keen rider, one that appears to love the landscape, but recognises that a motorbike might not travel well on the rubble. And that's a quote. The sand landscape displeases him, so he's got some negative feelings here, as he refers to it as littered. And a further explanation that this is something unpleasant. He's frustrated, so he's feeling frustrated. And we can conclude that this can't be easy, travelling on piles of rock, which is the language that Ewan has used. And we mentioned that he talks of being in a bad mood, but we don't use this as a quote because it's quite an emotion that's expressed clearly anyway in the text, but doesn't appear to blame his partner. So we've got some interesting thought on what he might be thinking. Charlie, as he refers to our planning, had gone awry. Therefore, he's taking some responsibility for the outcome. However, and we have got a discourse marker there, he's feeling stressed. We've got some comments about his feelings. And he emphasises the petty squabbles. So how can you tell he's feeling stressed? Because he talks about the petty squabbles between the riders. We explained this by saying that this may be due to the closeness and familiarity that they have, because they have ridden around the world together. And there's your embedded quote. He is unhappy. What's he feeling? He's unhappy with the state of affairs, and it appears to be spoiling his trip. Unexpectedly, Ewan registers Giza. He's feeling bombarded. How is he feeling? Bombarded. What is he bombarded with? The noise, which is coming from all angles. And the emotion which overwhelms him is like the sound coming thick and fast. So he's just got this feeling that he's uncomfortable. However, there's again a change in emotion here. Ewan reaches his goal as he glimpses the Great Pyramids of China. This is the start of something magical for Ewan. Initially, he thinks that the pyramids seem to grow up from the middle of the town because he hasn't really seen them clearly yet. But later, he realizes that they stand alone. He's feeling elated. So again, we're talking about his emotions, his sense of achievement as well, which is represented by the magnificence of the pyramids themselves. What's he thinking? What's he feeling? He's overwhelmed by his achievement, but he's no longer just thinking of himself, and this is going back to his thoughts. As he refers to, we funneled the traffic, which brings Charlie back into his thoughts. He's in the thick excitement of it all with his mate Charlie, and he expresses his sense of pride. What's he feeling? He's feeling pride, and he says, "My God," as he feels the excitement of being in the thick of it all. Although Ewan was bothered initially by the noise, the crowds and the hustle, Charlie appears to have taken it in his stride, and he seems to be able to detach himself from the reality of the noisy, dirty environment, and he can visualize something quite magical, which is a round of golf with the pyramids as your backdrop. Now, Charlie's enthusiasm brings Ewan back to calmness as he reflects on his journey and the reality of their achievement. These are his thoughts. He's stopping, he's thinking about what he's achieved. And now he can appreciate how the great wonders of the world can put your troubles into perspective. Now Ewan concentrates his description of the journey to the pyramids. And as he's no longer angry, so what's he feeling? He's not feeling angry anymore. He's not distracted with the noise and litter. He actually can see the massive stone structures, that's your embedded quote, as they dominate the landscape. Ewan admires, this is his thoughts, he admires the beauty, and the surrounding area is no longer harassing him, so he's not feeling harassed. So much so that we can tell that he's joking when he sees Rami and he refers to Rami's Indiana Jones hat, and this suggests that Ewan views this as an adventure, something exotic and special, more so because he's got his close friend at hand to support him. At this point, Ewan is feeling comfortable and he's feeling blessed to have Charlie as a travelling companion, because he talks about we had them to ourselves, something special for him and Charlie. He appears to be mesmerized with the beauty and the mysteriousness of the place because he's standing speechless. So he's probably thinking how amazing this whole experience is. So much so that he's in awe and he stands in a state of marvel to pay homage. So to reiterate, question 3 is about identifying the thoughts and the feelings of the character or characters mentioned in the exam question. This question is not about language analysis unless it supports your write-up of feelings and thoughts. And this question is not about the impact on the reader. Thank you.